Hi, welcome to another edition of Blue Collar Sports. I'm Darrell along with James.
Go Big Red.
And we got a new gentleman joining us today, Roger.
Glad to be here.
All right, we're going to start off with some interesting news that I read about on the media yesterday involving the Celtics coach, Ime Udoka.
Oh, my. Talk about a shock.
It's kind of funny. Roger was coming in and we're trying to get all the mics to sound halfway decent. And we're talking about what we're going to talk about today. Roger's like, who's Ime? I don't blame the guy. Roger is an Atlanta Hawks fan, and Ime was the first-year coach. Granted, he got to the finals and got out-coached by those Warriors, but it's interesting. He had a relationship with someone in the organization, and yesterday it was early, like, well, they're looking at a possible suspension, and today I read that it potentially could be season-long.
Yeah, I heard half to a full season. Wow. A team that made it to the finals, has their head coach looking to make another run this year, and wow.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, yeah, I know it's a business, and yeah, I know you need to keep your nose clean, but two adults, and they're going to potentially set him for a whole season. It just, to me, it screams like someone got mad and like, well, I'll show you.
And he's not married. It's not like he has infidelity.
Well, he has
Granted,
a
he's a
fiancée.
fiance.
Yeah,
But they're not. It's not on paper.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone was mad. Someone tipped somebody off and tried to get him in trouble because he's a good coach, or I don't know. Something just doesn't smell right to me.
Yeah. Hopefully more to follow.
But that's the pros. You always have a little bit of some drama. Okay, that's going to slide us into the NFL tonight. The Browns had a lot of drama in the offseason, and they're playing the Steelers tonight. Who do you like, Roger?
I like the Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers are the underdog. They're down by 4. They're in Cleveland. First year without
The big guy,
Ben.
Big Ben.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm on the flip side of that. I'm going with the Browns. Mainly their defense, although they're going to be without one of their edge rushers. Clowney's hurt, and the other guy is out with an ankle.
Garrett.
Yeah. Or I might have those backwards. One has an ankle, and one's out for the night with an ankle. The other one just a little bummed up, but he should play. But Steelers are giving up 180 yards of rushing, and right now the Browns are number 1 in rushing offense, over 200 a game. So, and Steelers just can't score.
Yeah, Chubb's doing an amazing job. That guy is an amazing running back. Jacoby Brissett.
I just don't see the Browns starting 2-1 this year.
It's weird. I didn't think the Browns would be where they're at this year either, but
They could be 2-0, right?
Yeah.
They probably should be 2-0.
I mean, last week was just that secondary has to get some kind of communication. They had a players only meeting to discuss whatever, but what they gave up, I mean, that guy was wide open to tie the game. Yeah, that secondary's got to get on the same page where they're not doing the Nebraska thing. And I thought where'd he go? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, Khalil Mack. You must be talking about Khalil Mack when I was like, oh, where'd he go? All the movement all over the place. But they had the line at 38 for the overs and unders, which I think is probably right on top of what it should be because neither one of their offenses is just stellar. They have 2 guys that came in, really didn't know the offense, and they're thrown in. I think Cleveland gets it done at home. I'd be surprised if Pittsburgh wins, but at the same time, I wouldn't. Trubisky had a halfway decent career at Chicago, but I don't know. We'll see. That's not the biggest game that I'm waiting to watch. I could care less, honestly.
No, I just kind of curious if we're going to see Kenny Pickett tonight.
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, what was it, a week ago? I said Trey Lance is going to get benched, and then he ends up breaking his ankle, and Garoppolo comes back. So
I think the Steelers have more issues than Mitch. The receivers aren't getting open. There's no one getting deep, and they can't run the ball. So how do you take the pressure off that pass rush if Najee Harris or the offensive line is not doing their job? Do you want to bring Pickett in to where he's running for his life now instead of Mitch, or you still let Pickett learn from the sideline? Nothing against Mitch, but take the hits. You've been in the league a little bit. You kind of know it. I think the Steelers' offense is very flawed besides the quarterback position.
Yeah. Fans were just chanting for Kenny Pickett.
I
I
hate
mean,
it. Every time you draft a guy, the ones that do good, that sat, Aaron Rodgers sat for a couple of years. Mahomes sat for the full year to the last game of the season, then it didn't even count. Brady sat. Those guys, when you sit and learn, Peyton, I guarantee you, said, man, I wish I would have sat and I didn't have to lead the league in interceptions and hold that record and get my butt kicked the whole time. But the ones that sit and learn, man, they come in and they're really good.
All right. I'm going to move on to San Francisco and Denver. A couple of teams that also have new people in their lineup. Trey Lance was supposed to be the second coming of Christ in the football uniform, and now he's going to have to wait a whole season. He's probably going to have ankle surgery, which brings Garoppolo back in, which probably gets him a better contract at the end of this year. Playing at Denver at home. Both teams 1-1.
Garoppolo has not beaten Russell Wilson.
Yeah, as a Seahawk.
Right. I'm granted he doesn't play Russell Wilson on defense, but
I said this at the middle of the summer. Denver, with changing their coach and all of the offensive weapons, they're lucky to be 50% at the end of the year. And I stand by that. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I totally agree. Coming in, West was supposed to be so great. And I look at Denver and the Raiders are not a threat to really anyone. But the top Chargers and Kansas City, I still believe, are the best. And
neither one of them are all that good this year. San Francisco is favored by 1.5 on the road in Denver, which can be tough to play. And it's the evening game on NBC.
Do you know that Herbert has a losing record since he's been a starter in the NFL?
The Chargers quarterback.
That's kind of hard to believe because it just seems like he is a great quarterback, but yet, they missed the playoffs, and I don't know. If they played 9-8 again, maybe the Broncos, the Raiders can sneak up there.
I think they could sneak up there, but as far as the Denver Broncos sneaking up there this year, I don't see it. I don't think the coach has it. He's gonna make a lot of mistakes this year, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, that's what I should do." I hope they stick with him. I don't necessarily think Russell Wilson is the best as he was when he was the beginning of the season. And I think San Francisco is going to beat him by 7.
Yeah, I like the Niners defensively. Broncos can't catch the ball. Russell scrambles for his life, and they don't have a running game. They do have one. They just refuse to let the guy carry the ball 25 times. So I like the Niners also.
I think Niners are the best team in the NFC. They just don't have the best quarterback. But they are, I believe, the best team.
Best team in the NFC. Best quarterback in the NFC. Okay, well, let's switch to
Not
Green Bay.
Not the best quarterback. Best team.
I know.
Yeah.
Best team with a good quarterback.
Yeah.
So let's switch to Green Bay and San Francisco. Both good teams, and you think that neither one of those is better than the 49ers?
No.
Okay.
Not all around.
Okay. Packers should come in and have a better chance at beating the Bucs because they're either all hurt or Evans is suspended.
I think it takes away a weapon, but right now,
but they're in Tampa Bay.
They're only 2 games in, but this Bucs defense, oh my! You want to talk about Todd Bowles having another defense locked in? I don't give Rodgers and them a chance. I'd be lucky. Rodgers lucky they scored 10 points.
Okay, but the Green Bay has Sammy Watkins questionable. He'll play. Randall Cobb questionable. He'll play. But Tampa Bay has the same thing. Rashad Perryman questionable. Scotty Miller questionable.
Julio Jones.
Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be a weird game because even Vegas has it at -1 for Tampa Bay just because it's the home team.
Right. And you get 3 as a home team.
And 41.5 is the over. So they don't even think that they're going to get like 20 apiece to get to 50.
They only scored 13 against the Saints last week.
Honestly, I think the Packers come out of San Fran with the win. I personally think that. Roger, you think San Fran's going to win? And
Wait. You mean Tampa?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Roger got me on the San Fran thing. Green Bay is going to win in Tampa.
Oh, no way. No way.
I don't believe so either.
All right. I'm on that one.
And I don't like Tampa at all, but that's just my personal reason. But
Don't like Tampa at all. I don't blame you. That's all right. Bills and Dolphins.
This is
Noon game in Miami. Bills expected by the Vegas people that choose the points and stuff to win by 6 on the road.
I believe they will.
You don't think
I
Tyreek Hill
believe
will
it.
have another
No,
117 touchdowns in one game?
no.
Does Tua actually believe Buffalo's defense going to do what Baltimore did and just let those receivers get behind them? I mean,
Yeah, that's terrible.
that was You own the first half, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, they're going to fold. No, they're not going to fold. They're young and hungry. And this whole talk of Miami having the best wide receiver duo, I'm not on that page. Sorry.
Well, Buffalo held Tennessee to 7 points. Buffalo held the Rams to 10 points. They have a decent defense against some pretty good passers. Well, I see Buffalo. I don't know. That's just it. Miami has such good chemistry going right now. They're going to come off a lot of confidence. So are they going to come in too confident, or are they going to come in with the right amount of confidence and make this a game? Honestly, I think this is going to come down to the team that has the ball last.
I got Bill again. Bill's defense is way more locked down than what Miami has faced.
Yeah, I don't know. Overs and unders at 52.
I like Bills. I'm not saying that the Dolphins won't get a late score, maybe make it look close, but I like the Bills. I like Bills to cover.
Bills to cover. All right. I am going to move to Rodgers' least favorite team in the NFL. No, I don't know. I'm just saying that. Cowboys and the Giants are playing on Monday night.
Monday night game.
In New York City. James had an interesting factoid. What was that? Last week, it was the first time in, 13, 14, 15 years that all the teams in New York won?
Right. Yankees, Jets, Giants, and
Mets?
Was it the Mets?
I don't remember. It was something like that. But it was the first time in a number of years. Giants are starting the season at 2-0.
Yes, and the Mets, sorry.
Dallas started 1-1. Cooper Rush, people are saying that he looks really good. He doesn't care. He knows he's not going to have the starting job, so there's no pressure on this kid. When you play with no pressure, you play lights out.
It's the defense. Micah Parsons, by far the best defensive player in the league right now.
Nope, Khalil Mack.
Yeah, nobody will beat Aaron Donald, but
yeah, there you go. Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack tied for the lead. Micah Parsons, great player. The best? No way. He can be held. He can be held on that end rush position. He's great. I'm not going to say he's not great, but the greatest player on defense
this year so far, yes.
I don't know. I'll let you have that. I mean, that's
now Micah Parsons is very good.
Yeah, but the best, I don't know.
So who you guys got? You guys going to take Giants at home, riding that 2-0 start in the East, or you think Coop comes in with that defense and wins it?
I'm going to go a different route. I know you asked that specific question. I'm not sure who's going to win this one, even in New York, because I just don't know. Yeah, the Giants are 2-0, but Dallas is doing some weird stuff. Ezekiel Elliott isn't looking all that good, but the other guy,
Marcus Pollard.
I've been saying Pollard's name for the last 3 years. I think is better than Ezekiel Elliott. And if they moved on from Ezekiel Elliott, they would get some trade value and add some people that they need. Ezekiel Elliott, you're good, but I want to get rid of you for some value while I can.
I concur.
Roger just doesn't care. It's not the Falcons, but
that game I don't know about. I think the Cowboys will win. I do. It'll be low scoring game.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be just like the Bengals game, 20-17.
Low scoring game. Monday night. I think it will be.
Micah Gallup comes back.
That could be huge. I don't know if him and Rush have as much of a chemistry as him and Dak. And it's unfortunate to say this. When do you move on from Dak?
Not soon enough.
If Roger mentioned Herbert, and I'd mentioned this a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, that if the Cowboys had Herbert, they might be unstoppable. If any team has Herbert, I think, and you have the defense to go along with it, it'd just be crazy.
Well, if Dak Prescott stays healthy, the Cowboys are like one of the best offenses in the game.
Yeah, but he's not. He can't.
I think Herbert's thing is he don't have a run game. What happened to Eckler? I know we already covered that game, but he needs a run game. He needs something to take the pressure off of him. And yeah, if he goes to a team with the Zeke Pollard, somewhere that gave him a run game to slow down that pass rush, or at least a play action, give him that extra half a second to throw the ball, he's dangerous. Right now, their run game's null and void.
We haven't talked about them playing this week, but the Bengals. The Bengals have the worst problem in NFL right now, and that's keeping their quarterback safe and not sacked. How they made it to the Super Bowl last year was a miracle. How they're looking this year, it's the same amount of pressure, and they can't stop it. I don't understand that.
13 sacks in 2 games, NFL record. It's crazy.
And they had a playoff game where they had like 7, 8, 9 sacks, and they still won.
They had 5 turnovers and sacked 7 times against the Steelers and should have won that game.
So this team has gone out and acquired amazing talent, but if they could fix those small mistakes.
Oh,
right?
my. Mm-hmm.
Small mistakes. That's what kills football teams in pros and in college. So we're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk about Baylor and Iowa State. Kind of funny. I wanted to talk about this, and James is like, "What? Who cares?" Well, here's why I care. Baylor is ranked 17th, and Iowa State is not ranked. Iowa State's coach is potentially in the running to be Nebraska's coach. I don't see it happening. I think he loves it there. I don't see him leaving. If he does, great, because he's a great guy. But he has them playing at 3-0 this year, and at home against number 17 Baylor, who's at 2-1.
It's going to be a tight game. I mean, Iowa State brings the defense. Baylor's playing pretty decent defense this year themselves. Man, I just don't know if Iowa State can put up the necessary points.
I think they can. Vegas says they're going to win by 2.5.
Who was Baylor's loss?
Roger asked who
Oregon?
was Baylor's loss, and Baylor lost to BYU.
BYU.
In overtime.
Yeah.
2 overtime,
Double
26-20.
Yep.
And then they bounced back and beat Texas State 42-7.
Iowa State
Well,
has beat Iowa as far as their lone quality win, and then they played, little Ohio, so they really haven't. Besides the Iowa game, they haven't been tested either. So this would be a good test for the 2 of them in a Big 12 matchup.
Vegas thinks Iowa State's going to come out on top, and I agree with him. I think Iowa State's too talented. They have an amazing quarterback in Deckers. For the season, 3 interceptions, 8 touchdowns, 745 yards. And their running back, Brock, is a beast. But we'll see. That's why they play the game. Baylor could come in and just be like, we're not going to take this. Iowa State, we're going to own you. But I think Iowa State gets it done at home.
43 points a game, Baylor. 30 points a game, Iowa State.
We're going to take a look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Nebraska last week. They're ranked 6th. They're taking on Kansas State. Why do I care about this game? Well, Kansas State has our old quarterback, Adrian Martinez.
Who's on the hot seat?
Adrian Martinez, 304 yards passing for the year, 1 touchdown. He also runs quite a bit. Vaughn, their running back Vaughn, amazing guy. Actually has more rushing yards for the season, 352 yards for Vaughn against Oklahoma's Gray at 286. So if it comes down to rushing, I think Kansas State could get it done on the road. Honestly, I think they could.
More rushing yards than he has passing yards. K-State's coach said that he has 304 passing yards. He had many of that in 1 game for Nebraska. He's playing too tentative, too conservative. They want to let him loose. So it's okay to make a mistake, which we all know you're a college quarterback. You're going to throw, but you have to challenge the defense. And for whatever reason, Adrian's not challenging the defense. And your running back has more rushing yards than you have passing yards in 2 games.
Well, he did that here at Nebraska. Overs and unders, 53. They have Oklahoma, they being Vegas, winning by 12.5. Honestly, I would take Kansas State on this all day long. Not to win, per se. I know earlier I did say that they would win, but to beat the 12.5 points, I think they can do it. James is shaking his head. You're smoking crack is what he's saying. Roger's laughing at me. They both think Oklahoma's too tough. That's my upset for the week. I think K-State is going to come in and at least beat the 12.5 points. For me, that's their win.
OU covers.
I believe OU covers too. I know last week was the first time I watched them, and they went up and down the field, but it was on the Huskers. So
it was on the Huskers. I watched Kansas State's game last week. They didn't look all that particularly crisp and clean, but
their defense is pretty decent.
It is.
Really above average.
And when I say crisp and clean, I meant their offense. It's still Adrian Martinez, and I know what he looked like for the last however long. I'll stand by this statement. His freshman season, I think he looked the best, and somehow our coaches, who we fired, made him worse while he was here.
Right. And it's not the first one that we've done that to.
No. Now, Oklahoma lost their coach, Riley. Let's think about the last three Heismans. Oklahoma. And I think runner-up was Oklahoma. So you got Tua. You have the kid that left Cleveland. Baker Mayfield.
yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
we're trying to think of Oklahoma's Heisman winners.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Kyler Murray.
There you go. See, that's just it. So why did I bring that up? The guy left Oklahoma and now went to USC. Watch who he brings up and forms into another Heisman candidate.
They're looking good so far. They're putting up points.
They're putting up a lot of points. So why did I talk about that with Oklahoma playing at Kansas State? I just don't think they have it anymore. Yeah, they look good against Nebraska, but Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern looked amazing. And then the next week, they didn't hang.
Yeah, they did. Let down, trap, whatever you want to call it, but that was not good.
The Georgia Southern game almost made it look like our coaches called them and go, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." I don't know, but we're not gonna have any Husker football until October, so we're going to move on.
A&M Arkansas.
A&M Arkansas, great. How did Arkansas come back and win that game last week? So are they drained from last week's game?
This is my upset. I mean, it's only 2 point. A&M's only favored by 2 at home. And as a road team, A&M did not impress me against Miami. I think Miami more or less gave that game to them. Then A&M take it. I like Arkansas coming in.
I think so. I think that's a great call. I think Arkansas is definitely going to be all over this.
Yeah, I watched the end of the A&M Miami game, and they fumbled that punt with, 2 minutes to go?
Yeah.
Somehow that guy got it back. I have no idea.
Again, it's not just a quarterback issue, but they replaced their quarterback for that game. He didn't look any better. The offense doesn't look any crisper or anything, kind of no spark, no mojo. So defense can only do it so long. And right now, Arkansas's offense is pretty good.
Yeah. If the Arkansas coach can keep his players that calm to come back and win with that big of a deficit.
Arkansas, 500 yards a game and 37 points a game.
Yeah. I think they get it done. I think that's a fun matchup. Another fun matchup on the west side of the United States, USC, Oregon State. USC is going to come to the Big 12 soon. I don't know how Oregon State can always play up for the USC. The Beavers and the Trojans every year.
And when you sent me this, and this was one of our games, I was like, really? And then I started doing some reading. I'm like, oh my, Oregon State, actually pretty good. Granted, they always seem to get up for these games, but
on paper, you should be like, oh yeah, USC should be favored by 20. No, they're only favored by 6.5, but they have the overs and unders at 70. A lot of points.
They're averaging 50 and 45. USC's averaging 50 points a game right now. Back to your Heisman coach, Oklahoma, whatever.
That's why I bring it up. USC.
They are scoring. Their offense is clicking. I don't even know if that punter's seen the field yet.
5 times, I think. 5 times this entire season. I think you're doing it right when you've only punted 5 times in 3 games. I think we've given our punter 5 times in a quarter.
I don't think Nebraska has forced 5 punts all year.
You're making me sad talking about the corn suckers, but
My bad. All right, moving on.
yeah.
That's a great game. It's a coin flip. I want to take the home team, but I still think USC, with all that talent, I'm just going to have to go with the favorite on that one. It's only 6 points. I'll give up 6 and win by 7.
And it's weird. Oregon State always plays better at home, and it's going to be a good game.
Speaking of punting, I think the Buffalo Bills has only punted the ball once this year.
Right.
I think just once, but I might be more than once. They didn't punt against the Rams.
Right. And he came in late third quarter to punt it against Tennessee.
Oregon and Washington State. I'm going to punt it over to Washington State game. And Oregon playing at home, Washington State Cougars. This one was another interesting one to me. Washington comes in, not ranked, which is the weirdest thing to me. They should be. 3-0. Oregon is 2-1, ranked 15th. And Vegas has 70% chance on Oregon's side.
Washington's a home team.
I don't know if they've watched the same Washington team that I have. The line set at 6.5 for Oregon, 57.5 for overs and unders. I see Washington coming in and having an upset at home. And it's not even an upset to me. To me, I think Oregon's the underdog, even though they're rated. I think Washington State is top 15 school easily.
Their biggest thing right now is scoring. Their defense is playing really well, but their offense hasn't been able to light up the scoreboard. Oregon does give up points, some yards.
Washington State scored 38 points against Colorado State. Washington State beat number 19 Wisconsin at Wisconsin.
With the defense, yes.
But they still scored 17 points on a very tough Wisconsin. When was the last time Nebraska scored 17 points on Wisconsin?
Yeah, trying to stay away from those guys.
Yeah, I know. I made myself sad again, Roger.
That's what I'm saying. Washington State's defense is really good. They just got to put up enough 20 points to beat Oregon.
I think they do it. I think they do it. Roger, Beavers? Oh, I'm sorry, not the Beavers.
Cougars.
Cougars or the Ducks?
Ducks.
Ducks all the way. Ducks on the road at Washington State. That should be a good one. Wake Forest and Clemson. Wake Forest is ranked. Clemson is number 1. Sorry, 5.
I think there's a did you know in there. The last time those two teams played that they were both ranked. It's probably been a long time.
Both of them ranked last time they played. I don't even know. I mean, Clemson's putting up some good points, but they haven't really played anybody yet other than Georgia Tech first game, 41-10. Furman and then Louisiana Tech. But Wake Forest putting up one more point than Liberty last week, which is a little bit of a because Vanderbilt, they put up 45 points on. I mean, they can score.
Yeah.
Do they have enough to get it done at home against Clemson?
You put that Liberty as I was looking past it, seeing Clemson coming up.
That's easy.
Yeah, I'd totally take Wake Forest in this game.
At home, I think that's a good way to look at it.
To cover or to win?
Both. They're getting 7. Wake Forest is getting 7. Clemson's favored by 7 in this one.
I think the only way that Wake Forest comes out with a win is if Clemson comes in asleep on this team going, that's all right. We'll look forward to next week and we're just going to roll over these guys. I don't think Clemson's going to do that. I think they're going to come in.
Clemson's first game of the year, they went on the road and smoked Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech has 1 win.
I'm going to say I'm going to stick with Clemson and Roger. I'm on Roger's side of this one. Clemson gets it done. If Wake Forest does it, I think that's great. It allows
Yeah.
other people to move up, and I think that would be an amazing win for Wake Forest. I just don't see it happening.
Yep. So this will be a bigger upset because they're favored by 7, and A&M was only favored by a couple.
Oh, it would be a bigger upset.
Yeah,
definitely.
I've definitely taken Wake Forest. I'll just call this as my upset in the colleges this week. I not only does Wake Forest cover the 7, I think they win the game outright.
All right. The last 3 Big 12 games that I'm just going to take a quick peek at. We have Maryland playing at Michigan, Minnesota playing at Michigan State, and Wisconsin at Ohio State.
Do we think that's going to be a game, Wisconsin at Ohio State?
I think Ohio State just kills them.
Yeah, I'd love to think that they're going to be able to ball control, slow things down, maybe a quarter and a half, and then the track meet opens up, right?
I don't see how they can. I know that's why you play the game, to show up, because maybe the kid's having a bad day because his girlfriend said he looked fat in those pants and he's all mad. I don't know. But I just don't see Wisconsin matching up with Ohio State. And I think Ohio State wins by 2 scores. Not saying 2 touchdowns, I'm saying 2 scores.
I think Ohio State smokes them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was 20, but yeah.
I think of those games that I mentioned, I think Minnesota-Michigan could be the closest. I think Michigan's going to completely kill Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the closest would probably be Minnesota-Michigan if you want a good close game to watch. I think that would be a good close game. But I think Maryland's going to get blown out on the road at Michigan. And Wisconsin honestly has the potential to get blown out on the road at Ohio State.
The Big Ten West is terrible.
Okay. Why do you think the Big Ten West is terrible?
Well, Northwestern's, they can't win. Besides
unless they
Nebraska.
play Nebraska. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And, now you put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of the other team. Well, Minnesota, I think they're still undefeated. They look like the team to beat. But
to me now.
Purdue don't look good.
Purdue's up and down. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone in the West could beat Minnesota.
Yeah. Wisconsin's not good. They're just not a Big Ten West. If Nebraska was halfway decent, we'd still have a chance.
Right.
Big Ten football. Yeah, there are some great teams in the Big Ten. There are some really weak teams in the Big Ten, and unfortunately, Nebraska is one of those weak teams. It's a tough pill to swallow, but everybody in this room that I'm talking with right now, Roger and James, are old enough to remember when it was gravy. They called the 80s teams the scoring explosions. The 90s had a couple of national championships, and we're just having some rough times thanks to the amount of athletic directors we change. Athletic directors change, coaches change, things change, and it's tough. Big Ten volleyball, Friday night, 7 p.m. in Lincoln. Michigan State is going to come to the Devaney and get an earful of Husker fans, and hopefully we get a sweep. That should be on Big Ten Plus and Husker Radio Network starting at 7 p.m.
I did watch that Kentucky game, and you can see with Haim being out, the setting was a little rough early. But as it went on, and I can't remember the setter's name that played, but she came in.
Kennedy Orr?
Yeah, Orr. Once she started getting in a groove, it just takes her for a slow start. Cook said that in practice she's amazing, but in the game time she's still getting the feel. Probably jitters. She's young. But once she started getting it down, obviously you saw we ended up getting a sweep, but the first set was a battle. And then after that, they were cruising. So once she gets that early game jitters figured out, man, we can make some noise.
Wasn't she our starter last year?
No, Kennedy Orr actually sat on the bench almost the entire year last year.
Okay.
What people don't know is, or I shouldn't say what people don't know, I didn't realize how bad her injury was and how much time she needed to heal, because that is what's kept her from practicing. And Coach Cook has said that is what's kept her from advancing her game as much as he thought it would be. He didn't realize that she would have to rehab as much and it would take as long. He is completely shocked. So if he is shocked, the amount of room to improve for her, I think, is amazing. And then we have Ani Evans when Nick Lindheim is dealing with an injury, also helping set. What I like to see is our middles are setting. Our back row is setting. Kenzie has had some great sets. Rodriguez has made some great sets, and they're playing really good. For me, James, you mentioned the Kentucky game match. I want to see what coach has done for them to come back from the Stanford loss. And I think that hopefully taught our team a lot.
Well, yeah, you come for that Stanford loss, not only did you win the next game, you swept a very, very good Kentucky team.
Yeah. So I want them to continue on with that. So Friday night is Michigan State. And then the very next night on Saturday, Ohio State's coming to town. And that is going to be a fun matchup as well. Ohio State and Michigan State, both great in volleyball. Big Ten's great volleyball all around. Just amazing.
The thing I've always heard about Cook is he's almost like they talk like he's willing to sacrifice a win against a non-conference team like a Stanford or a Kentucky or Michigan. Well, not Michigan State, but Kentucky, Stanford, to get ready for the Big Ten play because he knows how tough the Big Ten is in volleyball.
Yeah, and beginning of every year, like he said, he hates that it starts in August because their freshmen have hardly any time to get acclimated to the games. So he wrote, we talked before, is how much of a rotation he changes to figure out what's going to work early in the season. Yeah, so if we lose a non-conference, you know what? No biggie. I'm still figuring out my lineup. And then when you get to the Big Ten and he has it figured out, and it looked like in that Kentucky game he did, minus that injury, wow. They're clicking a little early this year than they did last year.
And it's a really young team. The amount of underclassmen, sophomores and true freshmen and redshirt freshmen that are playing right now is amazing. How he does it year in, year out to stay in the top 10 every year.
He somehow has them girls motivated where he pulls out 110%. Granted, you can only pull 100%, but he has them all playing for each other. There's no individuals. You don't see one person just trying to do it all, or it's quite the team. It's nice.
And they continually improve. Cook, you can't say enough good things about him. The amount of people that he plays, that he has coached, that he has then coached with, that then turn around, go to another school, he's okay with. He helps them set up their interview. He helps them get hired. And he has made the landscape of college basketball fun to watch.
What is it? Probably do 3. You get the 7 separations of Kevin Bacon. It's probably 3 for him.
I'm going to put it down to 0.5. I think everybody that he's come across, because it's nuts.
It is.
Players and assistants and where they all go, and then they all have the same love for him because they've taught him so much, but they're also great competitors and they want to win.
Oh, they want to beat him so bad.
What comes to mind is Danny Busboom doing that jumping at the end when Louisville came to town and they beat us. And to this day, I hear she loves to say, I'm undefeated against Coach Cook.
Right.
Head coach.
I'm 1-0.
It's fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Darrell, Blue Collar Sports Talk. James, do you have any final thoughts?
I do. Talking about a little bit of baseball here. Triple Crown. Aaron Judge is now tied batting average 317 with Bogarts, both batting 317. He already, obviously we know the home runs. He's 20 plus ahead of second place. RBIs, he's killing it. I mean, we can get to the other offensive categories. Haven't had a Triple Crown runner since 2012. And before that, 1967. So it's been a while. But
That's Carl Yastrzemski, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, nailed it. The numbers, the offensive numbers, when we talk about, and I mean, me and Rogers talked about it a few times, when your best batting average in the AL or any league is 317 for a season, where's that 330, that 340 guy? When was that was a thing? Right now, you have a guy leading Triple Crown with 317. Graded out offensively, he's been amazing, especially second half. He's batting almost 400 in the second half of the season with home runs going out. Just needs one more for the AL home run lead at 61. So we'll see. Got Boston coming up, 4-game set.
Yeah, I bet Miguel Cabrera batted, 345 probably the year he won it?
Yeah, it was over 330, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd mentioned his batting average and one more to get to 61. Roger Maris is the guy he is trying to catch. 1961 New York Yankee. 61 home runs, 141 RBIs. Batting average, 269.
That was a dead ball era.
1961 is the record year for Roger Maris, batting 269, 61 homers for the New York Yankees.
Yep.
And Judge, one away.
One away. And it's like when you see him batting, it's not that he presses. Last night he had 2 doubles. So he's not going up there I'm just going to swing for the fences, go 0 for 5. He hit 2 doubles, helped him win the game last night.
He played really smart because the guy that came up after him, grand slam, wasn't it?
That
Stanton.
was 2 nights ago,
Oh,
right?
2 nights ago.
Yes.
Yep. I got it mixed up.
Yep. But you're right. He
Well, Judge hit his 60th in the
same game.
the 9th,
In the 9th inning.
and then
Yep, they loaded bases up. Stanton came in and won.
they scored 5 in the 9th and won.
Yep. And that's one of those small, did you know, ESPN or those medias like to do is they had a walk-off grand slam, and then their first ones the very next game was off a grand slam. No team in baseball has ever done that.
Pittsburgh is who they played last. And the Yankees
4 games set with the Red Sox.
starting tonight.
Starting tonight.
Red Sox and Yankees. Well, I personally think that he's going to get it done, at least through the series, not necessarily tonight. Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
It'll be exciting.
Fun time. So we have a lot of stuff to watch. We've got some good college sports going on, volleyball, some good college football going on. And Sunday and Monday and Thursday night, we have some amazing NFL games. So, I'm Darrell.
Roger?
James.
For Blue Collar Sports Talk. Y'all have a good day. It's been a fun Thursday morning. Thanks for listening.